Hey guys, what's up? My name is Fantana Shatamsa, and if you're new here, welcome. I am a trauma-informed wellness consultant. I'm also a registered massage therapist and a comedic yoga teacher, also a birth doula, and a proud mom of three. And I do this, healing work. My mission is to help people eliminate chronic stress, process trauma, store trauma through the body, and really teach people how to activate our body's natural ability to heal. We were designed and created in such a beautiful way that our bodies have the ability to heal itself if we know how, if we have the education and the tools. And that's really, really what I try to provide to folks. So I have this, science background, community development background, wellness background, also business and entrepreneurship. But I bring to the table, like what I really find is, the most valuable thing that I bring is my lived experience. So I personally have experienced a lot of childhood trauma, complex traumas, addictions, mental health crisis, grew up as newcomers, immigrants. My parents were immigrants. I've experienced poverty. I was a single mom. And I went through so much before the time I was even 20 years old. And so I was just used to chaos and to trauma. And, my story is that I built out of it. So I went to school, got my education, started a business, had a really successful business, multi-room holistic clinic, lost the entire business, lost my home, went through financial ruin. And I thought that was the end for me. Like I thought I was totally and completely finished. But what I realized is I had not really healed. I was doing this healing work and I looked great and perfect on the outside, educated, business owner, successful mom. But, I just wasn't feeling it. I was in the wellness space. I was a registered massage therapist. Excuse me. I, was physically fit. I went to the gym, sometimes twice a day. I had lost a bunch of weight. I was, over 300 pounds at one point, got down to like 160, experienced a lot of health issues because I lost the weight, in unhealthy ways. And I balanced it out, but I was doing all this stuff that you're expected to do in the wellness industry and like to feel well and to feel healthy. But I realized on the outside I was looking one way, on the inside I was an entire mess. I was a wreck still. And I didn't even realize, like some of the stuff you didn't even realize. People will say, are you confident? Like, do you feel good? Do you feel healthy? Do you feel well? And I would just say yes, because I was so unaware. So I was really, unconscious to the fact that I was still carrying around a lot of wounded energy. I didn't really believe in myself. I didn't really believe what my value was, what my worth was. And so I really, had to take that time to just dissociate from people, from the outside world, retreat into myself and do the inner healing. And so when I started doing that, that's when I really started to feel like my inner world was representative of my outside world. And so that's what I teach my clients to do, my audience to do, people who tune in to listen. I want to show you how to rest, how to heal, how to really teach your body and your mind how to be okay, how to feel safe, and not just acknowledge trauma, not just acknowledge pain. Like I always say, I'm not a therapist. Like I'm not really able to dig through all that childhood stuff with folks. Like I can acknowledge it, and I think there is a place for it, and you do really, like my good friend Tanya always says, you got to feel it to heal it, and I 100% agree with her. But my hope and my goal is to get folks past that, because we can get sometimes so stuck in this, I need to heal, or something's wrong with me, or I'm, just revisiting the trauma over and over again, and I can't move past it. We can get stuck in it, but my goal is to help us move past it, to help us move beyond it through practical tools, practical strategies, and really simple stuff, because I'm not trying to add more to anybody's plate. I know that life is busy. I know a lot of us are successful professionals, parents, and I just, I want us to heal really truly in a way that is simple and effective and the way that we were designed to do, right? Because nobody got time for that. I don't have time to be doing a million things at once. I got like kids, and I want to heal for them, but I also want to heal for myself. So I hope this resonates with you. Again, if you're here, welcome. If this is your first time here, welcome. And so in this video, we're gonna talk about fight or flight. Okay, so what is fight or flight? How do we know that we're in that state, and how, what causes it, and how do we move beyond it? Okay, so let's talk about what is a fight or flight state. So fight or flight is our nervous system response. We have a sympathetic nervous system and a parasympathetic nervous system. The sympathetic nervous system is our fight or flight response. Both systems, the parasympathetic PNS and the sympathetic nervous system SNS, they're both needed. We need both nervous systems in order to live and function and be healthy and survive in this world, okay? So the sympathetic nervous system, this is our fight or flight response. So this nervous system is activated when we are in danger. Okay, so if we're experiencing danger, or our body feels unsafe for whatever reason, this system is activated. And so how do we know the system is activated? We have an increased heart rate. We are always on high alert. Blood pressure is high. Our body systems, they start to become inefficient because we cannot use all the energy in our body for simple processes like digestion or circulation or respiratory, function or immune function. Like, our body needs all this energy to keep us vigilant in case we have to fight or flight. Okay, so that's literally what it is. So we're in this constant activated state. That's fight or flight. Okay, and our body needs that. If we're in a car accident, or there's someone chasing after us, or we're in a dangerous situation, our body knows what it needs to do in order to have us bolt out of there, or to stay and fight. And it's just ready for us to take action, and that's absolutely necessary and needed, right? And then we have our parasympathetic nervous system, which is also called our rest and digest system. So this is the exact opposite function. So our heart rate slows down, our breath slows down, our digestion actually can improve now, because all the energy is not focused on getting us to a safe space. So we can bring that energy back to ourselves, bring it back to our bodily functions. So our circulation is better, our immune system starts to function better, our sleep starts to function better, and again, our digestion, right? Our joints, they can, relax and heal, and our muscles can relax and heal, versus in that fight or flight, when our muscles are tense, our joints are just, in action, they're ready to go, right? In fight or flight, we're also in a state of inflammation, because things are moving, our cortisol levels are high. When rest and digest, our muscles are relaxed, our joints are relaxed, our cortisol levels are low. Okay, so we have our rest and digest, we have our fight or flight. Okay, so that's what it is. Now the issue, right, both are really important. The issue comes when we are in a constant state or fight or flight, okay? And so when does this typically happen? So again, our nervous system is designed to keep us safe, and sometimes safety means what's familiar. So keep that in mind. Sometimes safety means what's familiar. So if we are used to chaos, maybe we grew up in a chaotic home, maybe we grew up in a place where there's, maybe a lot of violence in our neighborhood, or even within the home. Maybe we're used to, experiencing trauma, whether it's physical trauma, emotional trauma. Maybe it's something as, natural disasters that are happening in the environment around us. Maybe we're just used to that sort of environment, right? So we're used to chaos. And so what happens? Our body is constantly vigilant. Our fight or flight mode is constantly activated. So we have not yet, we do not have, the opportunity to get into that rest and digest, because we don't know what's going to happen next. We don't know if someone's going to come barging through the door. We don't know if, our home, we're going to lose our home. We don't know if, something bad's going to happen. So we're constantly vigilant, right? So sometimes it starts at a really young age, okay? And so when it starts at a really young age, particularly in our formative years, this becomes normal to us. So we start looking for situations or circumstances that feel familiar, right? And activate that fight or flight, because rest and digest no longer feels normal to us, right? Our nervous system, again, is designed to keep us safe. And sometimes what's safe is what's familiar. So we start seeking out situations that keep us in that vigilant state. So maybe this is toxic friendships, toxic workplaces, relationships that are chaotic, or environments that are chaotic. And sometimes it's not necessarily the other thing or the other person that's creating this chaos. Sometimes it's us that's creating the chaos because we're just used to it and we can't help it. Like we're always vigilant and we're used to things being chaotic and tumultuous. And so sometimes in order to feel safe, if the other person's not creating it, we create it within ourselves. And it's not intentional. When I tell you this is all subconscious, like we do not even know that we're doing this, that we're creating our own chaos, self-sabotaging, doing these types of behaviors, right? And then so what are the physiological effects of being in constant fight or flight? So say you're in fight or flight, all through childhood, all through your youth, all through young adulthood. So this is now normal for you, right? So you are walking around now as an adult constantly activated. So what does that mean? You're walking around, shoulders are up like this. Your mind is constantly racing, constantly scanning the environment, scanning the scene for any threat. Your mouth is maybe dry. You might be noticing that your jaw is really clenched. You might experience digestive issues like, IBS or constipation. And this is literally your system fighting, right? Trying to hold on, trying to keep you vigilant so you're not getting the proper energy to your cells to perform the normal functions that need to be happening, right? So maybe you get sore back, achy backs, achy joints, inflammation all over your body, right? So you're walking around as an adult thinking that this is normal, right? You're like, I'm so anxious, like, I can't sleep at night, right? My jaw is clenched all the time. I have this chronic back pain, or, my anxiety is so high, like I don't have an appetite, or, like everything just feels intense to me. I have this, unexplained inflammation in my body, or, achiness in my joints, right? So you start to feel like this is normal. You walk around with your heart racing all the time. You walk around with a high blood pressure or intense chest pain, heart pain, right? You start noticing how your mind is going. Like my mind is always thinking about what's negative, what's gonna happen next. Like, always expecting the worst, thinking the worst. And this is normal for you, right? You can't even fathom that peace can be a reality for you because you're just like, this is normal. And your nervous system can't even fathom that peace is normal because that would be unsafe, right? That would throw it into a haywire and like into malfunction mode, because how am I going to go from what I know is safe, which is fight or flight, to now rest and digest? Like, I don't know how to operate in that state, right? But the thing is, I want to tell you why we need to teach our nervous system how to heal and how to go into that rest and digest, how to get into that activating the parasympathetic nervous system. The reason why it's necessary is because we can only heal during rest. We can't heal in constant fight or flight activation mode. Like I said, all of your energy, all of the energy and nutrients that it needs for your body to function properly and normally it's unavailable. There's no access because everything's constricted. Everything, all your energy is going to just keeping you vigilant. So you don't have enough energy source to help with your cellular recovery, to help your immune system, help you fight off illness and disease, to help your digestive system function properly. You don't have enough energy or source to do that. And so you can't heal. You can't get over sicknesses. You can't heal the inflammation in your body. You can't heal the racing thoughts unless you teach your body that rest and digest is safe and normal for you, right? And so what are some ways that you can show your body and teach your body that it is safe? Let me tell you, for someone who has been in fight or flight mode for so long, this does not come easily. It comes with a lot of resistance, it comes with a lot of pushback, and it comes with a lot of, um, just normalizing the feeling of being stressed, right? Like you feel like, I don't need to be rested. I don't need to have a calm brain. I don't need to lie down. Like you're so, you're so used to being on all the time. And this is particularly true for my high functioning people, my successful folks, my entrepreneurs, my, career driven professionals, high achievers. This is for you, right? You're always on, you're always on it, you're always ahead of the game, one step ahead, but you don't know how to rest. And so you might be looking great on the outside like I was, but you could be really sick on the inside, right? You have inflammation, unexplained weight changes, constant chest pain, heart pain, palpitations, clenching jaw, right? And you just thinking that this is normal. It's not normal, right? So how do we get ourselves back into that rest and digest phase? So again, you're going to experience a lot of resistance. I'm going to tell you right now, but you literally have to force yourself to do these things, right? And you need to get to a place where because you're doing it so often, your nervous system can start to relax and feel like, okay, I am safe in rest. Like I'm okay with resting. This is becoming normal to me. Because it's so new, you're going to receive a lot of resistance. You're gonna, it's gonna be really hard for you to sit still and to rest. You're gonna feel like, I need to be doing something. I'm not productive. What if this happens? What if that happens? And you constantly have to be talking to yourself and bringing yourself back and being like, I'm okay. I'm safe here. It's okay for me to rest. You got to keep reminding this to yourself, okay? So one of my favorite things to do is to schedule breaks between my meetings. So I know that most of our calendars, our schedules are back to back to back, right? So you got one meeting at 9, from 9 to 10, you got another one from 10 to 11, another one from 11 to 12. You may or may not have a lunch break. You may or may not take that. Then you're back to back to back again, right? And in between, you might be trying to do errands, might be trying to do different things, right? It's just back to back to back chaos all throughout your day, right? What I encourage folks to do is to schedule time between your meetings. I know this is not always possible, but even just 5 minutes, because one meeting could be high intense, it could be, really emotionally charged, what it is, and you're taking all of that on, and then now you're just jumping right to the next meeting without giving yourself some time to process and to recover in between. So one tip that I really, really highly recommend is to take 5 minutes in between each meeting, at least 5 minutes, okay? So this, plug it in, or just tell your next group or your next meeting that you're not available until 10:05 or 5 minutes later, right? If you can give yourself more, give yourself more, and just write in between if you can. Just write down, your thoughts from the last meeting. Just dump things out so that you're not carrying that in your mind and in your body, and you're giving yourself some time to rest. One of my second tip, like one of my other favorite things to do, is to just lie down, okay? So lying down is the thing that I was the most resistant to, because I was like, I don't take naps. How can I take naps? I got a teen and 2 toddlers. Like, how am I supposed to nap? I got a business, I got a day job, like the house is a mess. How am I supposed to nap? I used to actually get annoyed when people would tell me that they were napping. I'm like, how dare you? How dare you nap? Like, there's too much going on. You're gonna miss something. Like, how are you gonna nap? And that was my sympathetic nervous system just shooting off and just being like, it's not safe for me to nap. I can't do that. I gotta be constantly on, constantly vigilant. What if somebody needs me? What if something happens? Like, I promise you, the world is not gonna fall apart if you nap, okay? So I am not a napper per se, but one thing that I do is lay down. I just go lay down in the middle of the day or the middle of the afternoon. I'll take 15-20 minutes, and I'll just go lay down on my couch, lay down on my bed. I'll play some music. I'm really, really big on like jazz instrumentals or R&B instrumentals, something without a whole lot of words, just melodies, just tones, just for me to lie down, close my eyes or grab my journal and just write things, like whatever's coming up, or if there's something on my mind, just to get clarity on it, or just lay there with nothing, eyes closed, hands on my heart, hands on my belly, just taking a few deep breaths. Okay, and you might feel a lot of resistance with this, but just start with 5 minutes. Start with 5 minutes, right? And your mind is going to be like, I gotta do this. This feels crazy. Like your heart's gonna start racing, your thoughts are gonna start racing, everything's gonna start happening at once. Just hold yourself there. Just practice keeping yourself there. Just start with 5 minutes. Just start with 5 minutes. Let your nervous system know that it's safe, it's okay, you can be here, and just stay there for 5 minutes. Okay, let your body know that it is okay for you to rest. Okay, third thing that I recommend to get yourself out of fight or flight is to start writing your new reality. Start writing your new reality, right? So again, I talked about this in my last video. Journaling is really important. Manifesting is really important, but actually taking the thoughts and the emotions from your head and your body and writing it out on paper, there's like a transmutation of that energy that flows through your mind, flows through your heart into your hand, and gets released onto the paper. So that physical act of writing is actually very healing and very therapeutic. So I want you to start writing your new realities, right? Pay attention to what your mind is saying. So I talked about this in my last video around emotional regulation, but it is really tied into here. But just start teaching your body and your mind through writing that you are safe. So, again, journaling, I talked about this in my last video. Journaling is great. There's a time and a place to write about your emotions, but there's a time and a place to also write about what you want and start calling that in and making that your reality. So pay attention to your patterns, right? Are you the type of person that's like, this is going to go wrong, or that's going to go wrong, or what if this happens, or this person doesn't like me, or that person has done me wrong, or, I don't forgive this person for this, or I don't forgive this person for that? Because those types of thoughts, those are high anxious thoughts that are keeping you in fight or flight mode, okay? So I want you to start, writing down things that allow your mind and your body to relax. So this could be things like, I am safe here. Right? The universe has my best interests at heart. Everything is going to work out in my favor. Because the other thing about fight or flight and being constantly vigilant, particularly for my single moms, you feel like you have to control it all, right? Firstborn daughters, you too, okay? You feel like you have to control it all. You have to take care of everybody, right? The whole weight of the whole world is on your shoulders, okay? And this could be true for single dads. This could be true for parents in general. This could be true for anybody. But as someone who is a firstborn daughter and who is a single mom, right? I just feel like there's so much responsibility on my shoulders, and the way that I feel safe is through control. And I feel like I'm the only one that can do it. But that just puts me in a constant state of vigilance because I can't rest. There's too many things are depending on me. I cannot rest, right? And so that is just going to take you further down that rabbit hole of intensity and vigilance and, just the inability to rest, right? So I want you to start trusting. I want you to start releasing and letting go, right? And so you're going to automatically feel a change. When you start saying, things are working out for me, money's going to show up in my bank account. These are things that you could stress about and send you in that fight or flight stressful activation, right? Money's going to show up in my bank account. I'm well taken care of. God is looking out for me. This person is, really cares about me. This person is in love with me. If you're in a relationship, right, and you're just stressed about that other person. My friends really care about me, right? I have an amazing supportive village that I can reach out to, right? Because sometimes we self-sabotage and we don't ask for help, right? So this also activates our fight or flight and makes us feel like we're doing this alone and we don't have anybody else to lean on, right? So I want you to start, every negative thought that you have, I want you to write the opposite, right? So if you're saying like, if you feel like I don't like this part of my body, or I don't like this about myself, say, I love my body. I am, wonderfully made, right? I am beautiful. I am in God's image, right? I am perfect. I want you to start saying these things about yourself. If you're stressing about work, right? Say, you're having an issue at work. You can say, I'm grateful for this job. This job was designed for me. I bring so much value to this role that I'm in, right? Whatever it is, the thing that you're stressing about and the thoughts that are looping in your head, I want you to start writing the opposite. And so that'll help activate you and get you out of that fight or flight mode into a restful, calm state and feeling like, you can let go of some of that control. Okay. And I encourage you to watch the other video on emotional regulation, because I shared some other tips in there too about how to regulate your emotions, which also helps to get you out of that fight or flight. So those things like movement, right? So whether it's yoga, whether it's walking, helping to release some of that energy is really, really important. But what you really need to focus on is getting your brain to a place where it feels safe, right? Because at night, what you need the most is to sleep and to rest so that your body can heal. We need to activate that rest or digest state and that phase in order for our body to really heal from the inside out. So those 5-minute breaks in between your meetings, at least 5 minutes, don't do back to backs. What was the other one? Laying down in the middle of the day, just letting your body know that it's okay for you to just lay here, and then scripting that you are safe, that things are taken care of, right? That there is an amazing protection over your life. You can chill, you can relax, you can lay back, right? And movement, I talk about movement, but I'm talking about things like restorative, like, yoga, stretching, some of those more like relaxing, restorative movements to help your body feel like it's safe versus some of those high intensity exercises, right? Think of other things that bring you into a restful state. Maybe it's reading a book, right? Maybe it's art. Maybe you're an artist. You haven't drawn or painted in years because you've just been the provider or the caretaker or the problem solver. I want you to go back to those things that make you feel rested and make you feel created and are kind of mindless. Like, it's not a task that you have to do, but it's something that allows you to relax. So whatever that looks like for you, I want you to start practicing that. Maybe it looks like 5 minutes of reading before bed, or maybe you go back to your sketchbook and you just sketch for a few minutes a day. I want you to start practicing those things that bring you back into that place of safety and rest. And again, if you're a high functioning, high performance person, career driven, professional, entrepreneur, or you're just, the problem solver, this is going to be really, really, really difficult for you at first. You're going to experience so much resistance. But what I need you to do is start to force yourself, start to carve it out, start small. But you need to get yourself there. Otherwise, what's going to happen? We know it's chronic illness, chronic disease. What do you think is going to happen after a while, after you have chronic inflammation in your body? Or, you have, your muscles are chronically activated, or your jaw's constantly being clenched, or you're not getting enough sleep, right? This all leads us down a path of poor health. And we don't want that. We want to live well. We want to look good. We want to feel good. We want to be there to watch our children grow up, but we also want to be there for ourselves, right? We want to experience this life. We're here for a short time and not a long time. And we can't just be here to work and not live, right? We need to be, present. We need to enjoy this life, and we want to live it in a beautiful way, right? We want to experience all it has to offer. So you deserve that rest, okay? I hope that resonated with you. If any of these tips are, seem practical or something you want to apply in your life, if any of this made sense, let me know. And before I take off, I want to take us through a little breath work. We're going to go through a little breath work practice. And this particularly helps us to activate that parasympathetic nervous system. So it helps us to get out of fight or flight and into that rest and digest mode. Okay, so this is also another practice that you can, include in your schedule, another tool that you can add to your toolbox. Okay, so I want you to sit up nice and straight. Place your hands on your abdomen, shoulders relaxed, eyes closed if you're comfortable. And we're just going to pause here for a minute. And When you're ready, I want you to take a deep breath in through your nose and exhale through your mouth. When you inhale, I want you to feel your belly rise. When you exhale, feel your belly deflate. So you go at your own pace. You inhale through your nose. And exhale through your mouth. Let it all go. So many of us are holding things back. We don't want to hold anything back. Let the breath completely go. Inhale through your nose. And exhale through your mouth. One more time. Deep inhale through your nose. And exhale through your mouth. Now I'm going to take us through a breathing exercise called Rule of 4. Okay, and so this helps us to improve our breath, improve our circulation, improve our lung capacity and the efficiency of getting nutrients, through our blood and into our muscles and into our organs. It helps our body function better. But we are going to focus on cultivating the breath. So we're just used to inhaling and exhaling, and most of us don't even know how to do that properly. We're shallow breathers, we're holding back. We don't give our bodies enough time to cultivate the breath. And in the breath, that's where the life energy is. That's literally what's keeping us alive right now. And we're just exchanging it in and out, just like it's gas. But we want to take a moment to cultivate it. So we're going to inhale for 4. We're going to hold for 4. We're going to exhale for 8. And we're going to hold for 8. Okay? And so when we're holding, we're giving our body that time to actually stir up, conjure up, cultivate the life, cultivate that life-giving energy, so that on the next inhale or exhale, you're going to have so much more life-giving energy, and you're going to have so much more nutrients. You're going to have so much more capacity to allow that breath to penetrate and to infiltrate the rest of your body. Right? It's going to be so much more dense. It's going to be thicker. It's going to be so much more effective once we hold and once we cultivate. Okay? I hope that makes sense. I'm trying to use layman's terms, but here we go. Just trust me. Okay? We're going to inhale for 4. We're going to hold for 4. We're going to exhale for 8, because we want to make sure we're not holding anything back. And then we're going to hold for 8. Okay? I'm going to guide you, but if you want to move at your own pace, feel free to move at your own pace. All right? So nice and straight, hands on the belly. We're going to inhale for 4. Hold for 4. Exhale for 8. Hold for 8. And just breathe normally. Just breathe normally. You might feel like your breath is getting deeper already, right? It's functioning better. It's more efficient. We're going to do it again, okay? So we're going to inhale for 4. Ready? Let's go. Inhale. Hold for 4. Exhale for 8. Hold for 8. And breathe normally. Yeah. Just feel that. Breathe normally. Feel the new breath. Feel the new capacity of your lungs. Feel the breath moving through your body. We're going to do it again. Ready? In for 4. Let's go. Hold. Let go for 8. Hold for 8. And breathe normally. We're going to do it one more time. You might feel much more relaxed already. You might feel like you're able to breathe better. You might feel just better all around. That's exactly what's supposed to happen. We take our breath for granted and we don't even realize that a lot of times we're not even breathing properly, but our breath is literally giving us life, and we have the power to cultivate more life, life-giving energy to heal ourselves through our breath, okay? So one last time, we're gonna go in for 4. Ready? Let's go. 1. Hold. Let go for 8. Hold for 8. And just breathe normally. Deep breath in through your nose. Big exhale through your mouth. One last deep inhale through the nose. And exhale through the mouth. Hands in prayer. I'm coming close to you. I want to thank you for watching this video. I hope that you took something away from it. I hope that it was valuable to you. And if so, please let me know. And I look forward to seeing you again in the next video. Take care. Bye.